go to candidate Steve Weintraub. And Steve, our question for you is, I guess, a little bit about the future of the city of Ventnor, the physical Ventnor. If you could imagine that it's 2012 and you're looking back over your shoulder at 4 years which have implemented 4 years which have implemented your plans, and in terms of the future physical aspects of Ventnor, what would be the status of some of the proposed or possible projects and or areas of the town? For example, the business district, if you would.
Well, Barbara, I think that any community needs a strong business district, and that's been neglected over the years. The requirements that we have in Ventnor and some of the problems like parking and situations like that make it difficult for merchants to really perform at their best here. We've got to take away some of the impediments to these merchants to allow them to grow. We've got to hopefully get into some type of program like a SIDS program, which is a special improvement district, that allows the merchants to contribute and the city to contribute and other agencies to rehabbing all of the business districts. You know, we've got really 4 business districts in Ventnor. We've got the uptown area, we've got the central business district, and then we've got the district at Fredericksburg Avenue, and then you add in Ventnor Heights, which is probably 2 or 3 different business districts. Ventnor has some of the finest restaurants on the East Coast here, and we have to really look upon how we're going to develop those and develop the parking for them and allow these people to run their businesses year-round as opposed to just in the summer. There has to be an attitude, it starts at City Hall, that this is a priority, because in order to develop young families coming into the town, we've got to give them more than just a good education. We've got to be able to give them shopping and things like that where they don't have to go off island for. As far as development goes, we have the first district of Ventnor, which is considered the redevelopment district, and that was a district that they allowed to go into pretty much disrepair during the eminent domain battles. I think that district could be the Society Hill of like Philadelphia has. It's got the opportunity for it, it's got the land for it, and I think that being so close to the jitneys in Ventnor in Atlantic City, that it allows the people the transportation where they don't need the cars that are necessary to transport them back and forth. I think it would be a great start to turn around and ask the city and the state and the federal government to come in and look at that as a test project for doing some type of creative housing in that area.
How about the Ventnor West tract of land and the golf driving range they're both in the same area? How about those 2 areas? Can you go on record with any kind of preferred plans for that, for Ventnor West and for the golf driving range? Do you think it should stay or should it go?
Well, I think that the golf driving range, is the way it's being handled now, that's definitely mismanaged. We've got a situation where it costs somewhere around $80,000 a year, and we're getting $18,000 a year in income from it. And from a financial standpoint, that just makes absolutely no sense. There's a possibility that you could look at bidding it out for a golf pro or someone to give lessons out there, let them take it over, or a private entrepreneur to come in there and take over the golf range and pay the city some type of income from it, and the city wouldn't have to worry about it. As far as Ventnor West goes, we're of all the same mind here, that we don't think that because we're Ventnor, we should be a dump site for anything for anybody. I mean, we're pretty clear on that. The city solicitor and the other members of the city commission have been less than forthright with us in regard to all the answers that they've been getting over the last 4 years. So we've asked the state of New Jersey to hold back any decisions on this dump site until the election, after the election, and they've agreed to do that. They've agreed to have a public hearing on it sometime in June, which will allow all of the public to get involved there. That site is too valuable as it is. as a natural resource. It's right near Shalom House. It's right across the street from Beth Judah Synagogue, and it's about 1,000 yards from the Ventnor Educational Complex. And that's just unacceptable. The infrastructure that would be needed in order to bring the trucks to take the dump material out of there would just ruin all of the roads that are going down Lafayette and Avenue and Buffalo Avenue and all of those other streets. And this is a 100-year-old infrastructure that's not able to handle it. So we're of the same mind that we're definitely against the proposal that they have right now.
Thank you very much, Steve. And John, I'd like to go back to you, if I may, and ask you about the consensus vote and the Dunes project passed as a referendum vote. Looking forward, what issues or capital spending initiatives do you believe should be put to the voters to require the consensus backing of a referendum, a vote by the Ventnor voters on which items?
Well, because of some of the projects that have gone on in the city and some of the proportion of the scale of them that we thought in many cases was inappropriate, we agreed as a ticket that any project or any expenditure expected to be $1 million or more would be a public referendum, a binding public referendum. So that would include all categories of projects, all categories of expenditures across the board.
But I did hear part of your campaign platform that said that it didn't include emergency items. This is strictly non-emergency, correct?
Right.
Okay,
thank you. Yes, that's
wanted
right.
to be clear on that. Okay, how about some open-ended closing statements from each of you? If you give each, we'll start with Teresa Kelly, whose name is at the top of the ticket. Enough is enough, and maybe you could even add, how did you come to the name Enough is Enough? And change, we've seen it everywhere. But just give us 5 reasons why people should vote for you, and maybe express why you feel you have the qualifications to be the next city commissioners here in the city of Ventnor.
Well, I think enough is appropriate because we are tired of what has been going on. So we want it stopped, and enough is enough says it, okay? And that's why we believe the change that Ventnor is ready for change. The reasons that I would hope people would vote for me are that I would be fresh eyes on the formulation of a budget, and I have many years of experience doing a budget, and I would look at the way the money is spent and provide details of all items in the budget because I want the taxpayers to be able to look at the budget and understand it. So I would do my best to make the presentation and the actual document understandable to the general public. And I would work to certainly improve the infrastructure because, as John told you, we have walked everywhere in Ventnor, and there are a lot of streets that need a lot of work. And there is flooding not only in Ventnor Heights, but also in areas over this side of the bridge. So certainly that has to be something that we have to look at soon. And I would use my administrative experience to try to help organize wherever we need to do that. But I would look forward to working with the present Ventnor employees. I am against eminent domain for private gain, and I would vote against development of Ventnor West. I am for dredging of the intercoastal waterways. I don't have any problem with that, but I do not want the sludge dropped off in Ventnor. And so I hope that people will look at us on May 13th and vote for the 3 of us.
Thank you, Teresa Kelly.